It's time for the Josh Kirby on Sports Podcast.
On this edition of the Kirby on Sports Podcast, we'll break down the Chiefs versus Chargers, Packers versus 49ers, the Rams versus Tampa Bay. Don't forget about the hurry-up offense and a preview of a key game coming up next week. All coming up next, you're listening to the Kirby on Sports Podcast.
Glad you connected. This is Dave Johnson, voice of the Washington Wizards. You have connected to the right place because you are listening to my man, Josh Kirby on Sports Podcast.
All right, it's time for another edition of the Kirby on Sports Podcast. Thanks to our sponsors, Rieger Building Services, PM Plus Reserves, Shenandoah Primitives, Dr. Dave Leadership Corporation, and Mark Francis with Icon Real Estate. I have the three-man booth with me. Dan Demski, find him on Twitter at Dan_Demski97, and Carlos Martinez, the Swiss Army knife. Gentlemen, let's talk some football.
Let's do it.
Let's do it, guys. Glad you're with us. We'll start with the Chiefs and the Chargers. Carlos, I know you have a lot to say about this game, but
I don't have a lot, but
I mean, you watched the game. You followed the Chiefs, so I know you're gonna have some stuff to say about this.
I'm having an affair with the Chiefs.
They're a second favorite. They are the side hoe for Carlos.
My side chick, all right?
Okay.
That's the first time I think we've ever heard that on this show, so that's a new one.
That's a new spin on it.
That's right.
Okay. So let's get to this. So the Chiefs and the Chargers, and I mean, for the most part, I really feel like that this game, the difference maker was so many turnovers. Patrick Mahomes threw 2 interceptions. And correct me if I'm wrong here, Carlos, I think Clyde Edwards-Helaire fumbled at least one of those turnovers.
He had one fumble.
He had one. So he did not have both of them, correct?
I don't believe so.
Okay. But still, Clyde fumbled last week when they were in Baltimore, cost them the game there. And I mean, I feel like that the turnovers need to be limited from the Chiefs. I feel like the Chiefs, I mean, they're playing good football, obviously, but still, I mean, I'll let you touch more on that, Carlos. I feel like they just need to get their discipline right in terms of keeping the ball and not turning it over, if you know what I mean. But Herbert with 4 TDs, each and every week, this Chargers team looks better and better, in my opinion, and they're looking red hot, and I'm not sure if anybody's going to stop them, but in my opinion, this was a very close game. We knew going into this game it was going to be a close game, but I'll let you touch a little bit more on this, Carlos. So about this Mahomes versus Herbert, Chiefs versus Chargers matchup. And not to mention, on a side note, Chiefs head coach Andy Reid went to the hospital after the game.
T's and P's.
Yes, but he is fine and he has been released.
Yeah, I mean, this game was, it's hard to win a game when you have, 4 turnovers. The only team that really did that was Tampa Bay against Dallas in opening night. But again, I feel like, a lot of the issues with Kansas City is, yes, the turnovers. Despite that one fumble, Clyde Edwards-Helaire actually had a pretty decent game, 17 carries for 100 yards. But, again, you can't fumble the ball. But also, Patrick Mahomes was kind of sloppy this game, it felt like. 2 interceptions is not really his like MO, I guess you could say. Like how often do you see Patrick Mahomes, do that? I feel like they're kind of a victim of their own success right now. I feel like their defense is struggling. They're struggling to stop the run. They're struggling to stop the pass. It felt like, Justin Herbert was just like every pass like that he needed to make, he was making. It never felt like this Kansas City defense was covering, or making it even a challenge for Justin Herbert when they needed to. So, they have, I feel like they have some secondary issues. I just feel like, we've seen Patrick Mahomes make these type of comebacks time and time again, that I kind of feel like the team is a little too arrogant about it now. And they feel like, oh, just because now we're behind, oh, don't worry, Patrick Mahomes is going to turn it on. But what happened? Now we saw he couldn't turn it on, and he couldn't get the job done this week, And I'm not necessarily worried about the Chiefs still. They're 1-2. A lot of it is just, stupid mistakes. Like, again, fumbles, interceptions. They don't turn the ball over and give Justin Herbert more chances. Who's to say that they don't beat that they don't beat the Chargers? But as for right now, it's they just have to become, I guess, more disciplined is the word. They have to work more on their discipline and just not turn the ball over. That's it. But yeah, I mean, good win for the Chargers. Justin Herbert, as of right now, is for real. We'll see how he is, going down the line. But I feel like the Chargers are one of those teams that are going to always give the Chiefs fits from here on out, because they're able to cover Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce, and, aside from those two, sometimes it feels like the Chiefs don't have anything else, like they depend so much on Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes, and Tyreek Hill that, Tyreek Hill only had one catch for 11 yards. Like, they shut him down. So,
and that was the same game plan the Ravens had too. Shut down Hill and Kelce, and they got beat on some other plays. Similar to this game, but I didn't mean to cut you off there, Carlos. I just wanted to add something sort of about the San Diego. Jeez, I still think they're in San Diego. I do it all the time too. It's still weird, man. The thing about the Chargers defense that I thought they did a really good job of was they really took away the deep pass. I think was a huge thing, and that's really a thing the Chiefs do so well. Stretch the field and throw more 15 or more yards downfield. That's where they kill teams, and they kind of took away the medium pass as well, because again, yards after catch is a huge thing with these receivers. And the Chargers defense was kind of forcing Patrick Mahomes to check the ball down a lot during this game, I thought, from what I had seen from it. So
yeah, according to Austin Eckler, because he was on Pat McAfee's show, is that was the game plan was really to contain, obviously the big play, and then also to keep Mahomes from scrambling out of the pocket, just keep him contained in the pocket, because whenever he gets out of the pocket, that's when a lot of the damage is done with the Kansas City Chiefs. Mm-hmm. So so basically their job was just to contain it. That's all they did. And they did a pretty good job at it. And that's the scary thing about it.
Yeah. And going back to what you said earlier about the Chiefs defense, they've really struggled in the first 3 weeks. They're 31st in the NFL in total defense right now. If you take in yards and all of the points they've given up, it's just been atrocious. And, their defense last year was probably middle of the road, but they were able to get stops when they needed to. That's just the defense now this season is so different in that, they really don't stop the run at all. And then they're forced to make all the stops through the air. And Herbert's a great quarterback. He carved him up all day. And I thought that was a huge thing for the Chargers as well. The Chargers are a great football team. And certainly, they are, they're one of the toughest teams in the AFC. I don't think anybody's going to deny that, especially with kind of how wide open it looks now with, Kansas City not being as dominant as everybody thought they were going to be. But that's kind of what happens. It's a long season, but you can't. This goes to show you just can't anoint teams at the beginning of the year. because they're going to go through bumps and bruises. And I'm not saying that the Chiefs are going to miss the playoffs or anything ridiculous like that, but they might not be the top tier team that everybody thinks they are. I mean, I still think they will be, but
yeah, I don't think that they're not going to be the top. I think they're still the class of the division. It's just they're kind of going through a little bit of a rough stretch defensively. If they can shore up their defensive problems and these dumb turnovers.
Yeah.
I mean, Patrick Mahomes I understand
Human
he's an
after all.
alien. No look. I mean, he's an alien, but I mean, that no look pass intercept. I mean, again, I feel like they're starting to become a victim of their arrogance. They're becoming a victim of their own success. Yeah. And they're starting to get a little arrogant. I think they need to kind of humble themselves a little bit and just kind of get back to just the fundamentals of it and just get back to just playing football and not trying to make it so flashy all the time.
And this is the kind of game that gets them back on track as far as getting back to the basics as to what they are as a football team and going back to their winning formula. And I mean, 2 interceptions for Patrick Mahomes. I don't remember the last time if he's ever thrown 2 interceptions in a Chiefs uniform. So, but it definitely goes to show you, like, look, the Chiefs aren't unstoppable, right? I mean, we've seen 2 weeks in a row. They certainly are, or I guess not 2 weeks in a row.
2 weeks in a row. I mean, they were beating the Ravens up until Lamar Jackson woke up.
Yeah, it just goes to show you that, obviously they can't stop the run. And we saw that in the Baltimore game. We saw this again in this game. And that's kind of how all things start. Like, it's understated in the NFL how important the run is as a facilitator for your offense. But, the teams that have the most success are able to run, play action well, and then they're able to, throw off of that. So, it's a formula the Chargers use. And Herbert, again, if he keeps playing at this level, I mean, he's really playing at an MVP level right now, but I think it's way too early.
It's way too early to anoint anybody the MVP.
Listen,
but he's playing that way right now for sure.
Yeah.
So I saw a graphic that I would like to touch on social media, and it said, and hear me out here, it said the Chiefs are the lone spot in last place in the AFC West. And I'm like,
yep.
Why do you throw that up? And once again, we have such a long season. And I mean, this AFC West, I feel like it's going to shift and move multiple times. And I'm like, why are you saying the Chiefs are in last place with a 1-2?
Well, they are in last place right now. Like right now, as the division standings stand, they are in last place.
But still, why are you? I mean,
they're just showing it's just for clicks. Yeah, it just gets attention. That's all
it's the same reason that Stephen A. Smith has his power rankings every week, and he changes them every week, and they're insanely stupid and ridiculous every week. It's because people get in the comment section and they say what an idiot he is.
It sparks conversation and attention. That's all it does.
Exactly. It gets the people going. Really
just don't pay any attention to the fact that right now the Chiefs are in last place, because I don't think they're going to be staying there for long.
They're going to be fine.
Yeah, we're only 1/6 of the way through the season. We still have 15 more weeks of football to go. I mean, every team only has 14 more games.
Now, if we get 4 or 5 weeks down the road and they're still struggling, then maybe it's a different story.
If we get to the Washington
right now,
game,
it's a little different.
If we get to the Washington game and they're still struggling, then it's time to sound the alarms.
Yes.
I agree, especially against Washington.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Which I don't think is going to happen, because Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill are going to light up.
Washington has no defense. I mean, they really don't. So.
All right.
Just a side anecdote, we have officially confirmed we are going to that game.
Oh, yeah.
Can't wait.
That's going to be so much fun.
Indeed.
That will be so much fun.
The 3-man booth meeting each other live for the first time since the pandemic started.
Oh, yeah.
Well, actually, this is the first time I'm meeting Dan live, but
Yeah.
All right.
But by the way, Herbert, 165.3 passer rating, which I believe 158.3 is a perfect rating. So,
Jesus.
I mean, he was
on fire.
He was
really
out
good.
Of his mind in this game, and a big thing for him, no turnovers. I mean, he seems
that
to get
was
better.
Huge.
He seems to get better every game with not making stupid throws.
And the Chargers truly believe that they are like a good team, and I think they're a good team this year. I think they're a playoff team. You know, and they really believe that they should be 3-0 because they think that the Cowboys game that they they lost the game more than the Cowboys won, which I would agree with because of the penalties.
Right. Definitely agree.
So the Chargers 30 and the Chiefs 24. We'll take a quick break and talk about the Packers versus 49ers next on the Kirby on Sports Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, let me just tell you about Regroup Building Services. If you're looking to get your home remodeled, any part of your home, bathroom, kitchen, want to get a deck built, anything like that, Regroup Building Services can just about do everything. And take it from me, because they came in and they remodeled my family's kitchen, and they do a great job. So if you're looking for any sort of home remodeling needs, deck work done, anything of that nature, reach out to my guy Sean Hibbard over at Regroup Building Services today. You can check them out on their website, www.regroupbuildingservices.com, where they do the honeydews that your honey don't. Make sure you tell them Josh sent you. For sports fans living in condominium and homeowners associations, as well as business professionals, when you need a reserve study, PM Plus Reserves has been in business since 1990. Their studies are accurate and easy to understand. Check them out when your association needs a study. www.pmplusreserves.com. You can also contact them at 703-803-8436. Once again, www.pmplusreserves.com. All right, welcome back. The three-man booth here on the Kirby on Sports podcast. Boys, let's talk about the Packers and 49ers. I don't really have a lot to say, but I did look at some of the betting lines in this game. Not that I look at it religiously or anything like that, but
You're not a betting show.
no. Yeah,
There's so many of those now. It's just insane. I just want to say real
promo
quickly,
code for every different betting site.
every radio show and podcast and TV shows does betting now. It's just
So let it
crazy.
be known, FanDuel, if you want to sponsor us, we're totally open for it.
Yes, please.
So,
Raking that money.
anyways, was it just me, or were the 49ers favored in this game? Because I feel like the betting lines slanted towards San Francisco for some reason.
They closed it a 3.5 point favorite. I think.
Well, I mean, again, you got to consider the fact of what happened the last time these two teams really met in San Francisco. You know,
Yes.
they ran. I mean, San Francisco just completely obliterated Green Bay twice. You know, and then obviously, San Francisco didn't necessarily look great in their last game. Green Bay obviously ended up pulling away from Detroit, but they kind of struggled against Detroit for a little bit there for like the first half. It was a game. Second half, then Green Bay pulled away. So this is the first time, and obviously Green Bay, when they faced the Saints, got obliterated also. So it's like, it was more of, a question of, what type of, like, which Green Bay were we going to get in this game?
So Carlos, I remember you saying in week one, it's the Packers just need to relax. Aaron Rodgers,
the Packers fans and just fans in general.
Yeah, need to relax. And that's just exactly what happened. The 49ers came back with a late touchdown, gave Aaron Rodgers just enough time. You give Aaron Rodgers time, he's going to win the football game, and Mason Crosby seals the deal with the game-winning field goal to beat the 49ers in Santa Clara. And we all thought this might have been a blowout.
Well, Dan said in the group message when the game started that he had a feeling it was going to be a blowout. And it was actually it was looking like it was going to be.
The way it started, the way the Packers had the momentum early.
Yeah, then the 49ers came back, took the late lead, but you have Aaron Rodgers, and
he's Aaron Rodgers, man. I mean, what else can you say? The guy's done everything in the regular season that you could ever ask for. He's had some trouble in the playoffs, obviously. And
he's won a Super Bowl, so he's done everything in the league.
That's the classic
MVP,
that's the classic storybook. And the team scored a touchdown to go up by 3 with 25 seconds to go.
Yeah,
Aaron Rodgers gets the ball back. The end.
37 seconds, no timeouts. I mean, there aren't many quarterbacks that I would put in the NFL who could make that happen.
I mean, it's only him and like Brady that I would trust.
That's it. I mean, that's the list for me.
Maybe if Peyton Manning was still playing, I would trust Peyton Manning with it.
But I mean, Brady's probably the best at that, but Rodgers is pretty much right there as far as can't give him any time. I mean, you saw that famous picture. I forget what the game was now, but it was like a minute 13 left, and I think there was no timeouts, and Rodgers took the
probably against the Cowboys.
I think it was the Cowboys. Yeah, it was when they put the Cowboys
around. Aaron Rodgers said on Pat McAfee's show that was his favorite, like comeback, like kind of like last minute drive to get into field goal range, and Mason Crosby had to make the kick twice.
Yeah.
That was. He says that one was his favorite. He says this one wasn't, but this was up there.
You know, it's what a career the guy's had. I mean, Hall of Famer for sure. And, you know, he's one of those guys. He's just like Brady. Now he's not as old as Brady, obviously, but he's one of those guys who just
he's not young though. He's 37.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, Brady's what, 43, 44?
I think he's 44.
Which is just bananas to think that he's that old and he's still playing at such a high level.
Yeah.
That's kind of a side note, but he's just one of those guys you just can't count out ever, no matter what the score is, no matter how much time they have left. Like I said, and like Carlos said, I mean, it's just Brady and Rodgers. That's the list, you know, as far as the guys who you can trust to come back in that situation and put your team in position to win the game. It's just unbelievable. And I thought Garoppolo played pretty well.
He had some stupid moments though.
Yeah,
some really dumb moments.
That pick he threw was really bad. And he also, no wait, yeah, he only had one interception. So, but yeah, he did have some off kilter passes. But
yeah, he had the one interception and the one fumble.
That's right, it was a fumble. Yep. I couldn't remember if he also had a fumble. So
yeah, he had the one fumble, and then obviously, you know, I mean, he like I said in the beginning of the season, Jimmy Garoppolo is not a bad quarterback. It's just, you know, when it comes to the biggest games, he just doesn't pull it. Now, obviously, he did all that he could in this game, but also when you're snapping the ball with 12 seconds left on the play clock, you know, for the last touchdown, you know, Aaron Rodgers doesn't have any timeouts. Like, they could have taken another 12 seconds off, you know, but I guess, you know, from everything that I've been hearing, like about that people have been saying, recapping the game is, you know, obviously San Francisco didn't necessarily have the best running. They didn't really have a running game in this game, you know, and I think that's the other thing that kind of played against them is that then it had to kind of get up. It was kind of in Jimmy G's hands. And obviously Kyle Juszczyk, you know, scored the last second touchdown. Well, not the last second touchdown, but scored the touchdown to put them up. But, you know, they were, you know, it's not certain that, you know, he's going to get in, you know,
right.
And obviously that was a receiving touchdown, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it was.
Yep.
So like, you know, again, 37 seconds, no timeouts on Green Bay. I feel like, yeah, that was probably the best option. Like, take your chances, you know, because like you trust your defense. The 49ers defense is pretty good. So I don't know, man. I feel like San Francisco is going to be a player this year. Like they're a playoff team. And Green Bay obviously is starting to prove everybody wrong and week one is starting to look more and more like just a random anomaly.
Well, and that's a prime example of not overreacting, which the sports media pundits want to do after every single week. You know, to do it after week one is just insanely stupid. Now, if you're looking at week 9 or 10 and this kind of stuff goes on, okay, I understand why you feel that way. You're more than halfway through the season. But again, I mean, it's Rodgers and Brady. I mean, those are the guys, no matter what their record is, no matter how poorly they've played the last 2 or 3 games, they're never out of it, man. And they always find a way to come back and bounce back and have a better game and put themselves right in position to make the playoffs and then, you know, hell, win a Super Bowl too. Don't forget about the one dumb play that Garoppolo had, which is when he threw it behind him or on the ground behind him.
Yeah, that was
a sack. Yeah. That was strange for sure to see that
We had a Trey Lance sighting though, and he scored a touchdown.
a touchdown. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but I sort of like these packages. I don't believe I've seen this before where like, yeah, I guess it's probably just the draft class that was drafted, but a lot of these quarterbacks are getting in like these draft picks, and they're just creating packages and letting them feel what it's like in game, and some of them have had success and scored, and I think that's really neat that Trey Lance got in for a touchdown.
Yeah, and it's generally low risk, high reward. I mean, anytime you put the ball in your backup quarterback's hands, maybe it's low risk isn't the right word, but
it seems like they primarily do it like in the red zone where they know he can just run in.
There's less room for error at that point. So yeah, I think that's a good thing, and like you said, it gives these guys a chance to sort of taste the NFL a little bit, and our old pal Justin Fields, I think he's found out that the NFL is a little faster than he said it was in the preseason when he was playing against guys who have been cut now. So that's another side note on that. So
we'll touch on them when we get to the hurry up offense.
Yeah, the hurry up offense.
This was a great game, and like I said in the group,
it was
chat,
very fun to watch.
Yeah, I thought in the third quarter, that's when I thought the Packers were really going to run away with it, but. They kind of started slow in the second half, and the Niners took advantage of it. But the 49ers just had too many mistakes, and the Packers are a team you just can't make mistakes against them. It's what we've said about the Chiefs. It's what we've said about Tampa Bay. Outside of Week 1, where Tampa Bay really turned the ball over several times, but they
still won. They found a way to win, but
it's never pretty. But you can't give Aaron Rodgers second chance opportunities to score, because
if you have an opportunity to bleed the clock of more time, like you gotta make it impossible for Aaron Rodgers, because if you give him just even 37 seconds, like he knows how to get down the field, and that team is organized enough to know, okay, we got to get down, we got to spike it, we got to clock it, we got to get as much time as possible, and they did what they needed to do.
And they've been in these situations too. I mean, they, like you said, their experience shined in that situation as well. Not just what Rodgers was able to do, but the guys around him. Really fun football game. And, the Sunday night games this year have really not disappointed at all.
I mean, even the Rams and Bears one, even though the Rams pretty much dominated, it was so fun still, because watching Matthew Stafford just light it up.
Like a kid on the playground for real.
Yeah. So and obviously the opening night game was obviously with NBC. It's just been so great this year so far. And obviously we're about to hit the big one this week. So,
yeah. Oh, we'll get into that.
Hello from the other side. Fantastic promo.
We will get into that later, but for the time being, the Packers 30 and the 49ers 28. Lesson to learn by: don't give Aaron Rodgers any time left in the fourth quarter. All right, the next game, the Buccaneers and the Rams, 34-24 the final, and that one, the Rams beating the Buccaneers. And gentlemen, I know it's early, but is it safe to say that the Stafford Goff trade was won by Los Angeles? Because Matthew Stafford just looks incredible right now.
This is easily LA won this trade, because and we all kind of knew it that they were going to win this trade, because Matthew Stafford is just so much better than Jared Goff. That's not to say Jared Goff is a terrible quarterback. Obviously he almost beat your Ravens, Dan, and just by, the stroke of Detroit's
We're not
curse,
talking about that. Yeah.
The stroke of Detroit's curse, they lost that game, and Justin Tucker's God mode. But it's very clear that the Rams are probably the best team in the NFC right now.
So
yeah, I think what they do really well is, Stafford has to love having time to throw it, because that's just the main thing I've seen with this Rams team, is just how much great protection he has, and definitely has a nice set of weapons too. And I had no idea Deshaun Jackson was still in the NFL. Color me surprised that he had such a great game too.
He's still the same Deshaun Jackson.
He's so fast. He's still so fast.
You catch a
Unreal.
deep ball for Deshaun Jackson, and he's going to taunt all over you until he runs into the end zone. That's Deshaun Jackson.
And I think he was on
never
your team for a
changed.
while.
Yeah.
Another great signing by Washington. They've had a whole list of them, of guys, you know?
Yep. I know.
Cooper Kupp, I mean, he's Cooper Kupp. I mean, he's had an unbelievable season so far, and he played lights out too.
But listen to this. Matthew Stafford, almost 400 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Yep.
I think just
no turnovers.
I think just a change of scenery is just what Matthew Stafford needed. And if you heard the interviews and stuff with Matthew Stafford, so on and so forth, apparently the trade was brought about because he went on vacation the same place some of the Rams were going on vacation. I forget where it was, but I think in Mexico somewhere. And it was in a hot tub. Apparently he was staying in the same hotel as some players, and they met up in the hot tub and were like, let's make this happen. I mean, I don't know how
amazing.
Yeah. I thought that was incredible that he was in the same hotel as some of the Rams were.
Yeah, he was at the same resort as Sean McVay, and they met up at the pool, basically just started talking. And him and like McVay's fiance and Matthew Stafford's like wife started like talking too. And like they started, McVay and Stafford started talking. And then, then it kind of got out that Stafford wanted out of Detroit. So then McVay made the call. He was like, I want this. He like immediately went to his hotel room, started watching film on Matthew Stafford. There was one play in particular that apparently, or one drive that happened like late, like when Detroit and LA played one time, and like Matthew Stafford was able to like recite it word for like play for play what happened, and it was like a game from like 3 years ago or something like that. And then all of a sudden, McVay was like, I want this guy, he wants out of Detroit. I want this guy. And they made the deal happen.
Hey, honey, you want to move to LA? I think you'd be a lot warmer than Detroit.
Be a lot nicer than Detroit.
Detroit, the armpit of America.
Yeah.
Oh,
so,
they've been left behind.
So can we touch on just the fact really quick that the Buccaneers, they're racking up injuries like you wouldn't believe, in my opinion. I mean,
go ahead and tell us, Kirby. Preach.
Well, I mean, injury. I think the Buccaneers are starting to hit the injury bug, and I think the
secondary definitely is taking a hit.
Yeah, absolutely. And they just signed Richard Sherman.
Good signing.
Yeah, I think.
I wish the Cowboys would have made that signing, but
So obviously some help, but Richard Sherman and Tom Brady on the same team. Wow, that's
strange. Very strange.
Very strange for sure.
If you would have asked an NFL fan 4 years ago, Tom Brady's going to be on the Buccaneers, you would have said, "Come on."
Yeah, come on, dude. Are you serious?
Yeah, no,
and Tom Brady and Richard Sherman on the same team, also, come on.
Come on.
Like that's just.
Let me up it for you. You got Tom Brady, Rob Gronkowski comes back. They go to Tampa. Then they also get Antonio Brown, and then you get Richard Sherman.
And then you get Josh Gordon.
Josh Gordon's going to Kansas City.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe Kirby's been hanging out with Josh Gordon a little too much.
No.
Stay off the weed.
No. Yeah, they both have similar color reds. I got confused there. It's completely my fault.
Okay.
I mean,
completely my fault.
Right,
Kirby, Josh Gordon is not going to Tampa Bay.
Kirby, we forgive you. I mean, he did play with Tom Brady at one point.
Yes, he did. Yeah, that's why I got confused. But Richard Sherman signing with Tampa Bay, Josh Gordon signing with Kansas City.
Yep.
I mean, we'll see what Josh Gordon's really going to do at Kansas City. I mean,
we have more of a, yeah.
I mean, I don't know. This guy's gotten so many chances in the league. I mean, it's incredible he's still trying to play, but
And can he even still play to
Can he still play?
high level?
can he stay off the suspension list?
Right.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's going to be the big key. We talked about it in the group message. Me and Kirby are kind of, I don't know if Dan, if you're of the same opinion, but like, we feel like this is probably his last chance.
He's had so many of them. It's just, I think I said something like, never have I seen a player get more chances than him to make it in the NFL. I mean, it's obvious he has talent, but he's just, every time it seems like he's starting to show that talent, he gets in trouble again. So yeah, it's one of those things where at this point I'll believe it when I see it. And I had that opinion 3 or 4 suspensions ago. So, I've never really felt it for this guy, man. He gets too many opportunities, but I hope he goes out and proves everybody wrong, and he probably finishes out his career, I imagine, at this stage with them.
Yes, yeah, like I said, this is probably his last chance.
Yeah. He's not a young guy at this stage either. I mean,
oh yeah.
I don't know how long he's been in the league. I would say at least 10 years, maybe.
Yeah, he's been in for a while, but he's been out for like 3 of those 10. I don't know. But anyways, back to this game, the Rams-Bucks.
I don't have much more to add besides that.
I mean, all I have to say is, also, Tampa Bay's got to find their running game, because Ronald Jones, Leonard Fournette, when Tom Brady's your leading rusher, that's a problem. That's a problem.
I mean, Leonard Fournette, he's had some pretty good seasons. I mean,
yeah, and obviously he had a
great
great
up my
playoff
fantasy
run.
team, man.
I know.
Like
you obviously had a great playoff run, but I mean, I don't know. And also Ronald Jones is also not playing well. So it's just like, I don't know. These running backs need to step up, because Tom Brady can't, Tom Brady didn't have a bad game. He went 41 for 55 for 432 yards, 1 passing touchdown, 1 rushing touchdown.
Oh yeah.
How many times do you see Tom Brady do that? But I mean,
he can't do it all. And that's at this stage of his career, he really can't do it all. He needs a good running game. And that's pathetic. I mean, Ronald Jones had 11 yards, Fournette 8 yards. And those are your 2 guys. Those are your 2 go-to guys.
And again, the Rams, I mean, you're probably going to see the Rams again in the playoffs. So it's like, they got these running backs, because if the running backs can get going, it opens up so much for Brady.
Oh, gosh.
And especially with the play action and all that, like that's Tom Brady's bread and butter right there, and with the Rams, I mean, the Rams Matthew Stafford just has really brought something to this team that I think we all expected him to bring. We expected him to bring this level of, action to the offense.
Yeah.
But also I didn't think it was going to gel this quick.
Me too.
Again, it's like him and Cooper Kupp have been playing with each other forever. Like they're so in sync right now. It's crazy.
So can I throw up one more hypothetical I heard? Completely random, but it has to deal with LA.
Okay.
I heard somebody tell me, what if we saw a Super Bowl in LA, which
with both
is
LA teams
between the Chargers
possible.
and the Rams?
Now it's possible.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers won in their home stadium in the Super Bowl last year. What if fate holds it that Los Angeles plays Los Angeles in the Super Bowl in Los Angeles?
Well, people would hate everything. I mean, that would just be anger. That would anger a lot of people. But it would be for sure.
I don't think the Chargers are ultimately gonna. I think
they're not quite to that level.
I don't think they're ready. I don't think they're ready to make that push for the Super Bowl just yet. They're about maybe 2 seasons out from being like a legit Super Bowl contender. They're a playoff contender and a dark horse, but I don't have them going to the Super Bowl. I think the more realistic option would be the Rams being in the Super Bowl in LA this year.
Yeah, it was just a hypothetical, but I thought that would be really
it would be great storytelling, but it would be a majority. I mean, would that stadium really be full? I mean, if it's full, it'd be Rams fans. It's not like LA, these teams have really cemented themselves in, LA, the sports world in LA.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Rams are more appropriately that, they belong to Los Angeles at this point. I mean, it kind of was screwed up the way they left St. Louis, but at the same time, now they've been there for what, 4 years, 5 years going on now, and they've gotten to the Super Bowl. They've built up that fan base, so they've kind of earned that to be LA's team, I think. And now they're playing even better than.
And I think the Chargers are on their way to that, especially with Herbert and
Herbert's he's a shining star so far.
But again,
bright young star.
I feel like the Chargers are having a tougher time just because of them leave the way they left San Diego. Now they have a lot of hate for that. And then B, when they came, it's not like they were, it's not like they were playing in a damn MLS, soccer stadium,
small stadium too.
It was, and
they couldn't even fill that.
Yeah, so. It was, there was the one game against the Packers where it was like all Packers fans there.
Yeah.
And, again, the Chargers, there was really no reason for the Chargers to come to LA. I guess, there was because they were going to get to move into SoFi, but,
money is the name of the game.
That's all it was, I don't know. If it was the LA versus LA or the battle for LA in the LA Super Bowl, I mean, it would kind of be a tough watch, to be honest, for me personally.
I agree with that.
All right. The Rams over the Buccaneers 34-24. Coming up next, the hurry up offense. You don't want to miss it. Is it finally time to upgrade your home's interior? How about with an authentic farm table made locally from recycled barnwood? Shenandoah Primitives, based right here in Winchester, Virginia, makes farm tables, benches, tables, coffee tables, and a long list of other items for your home decorating needs. At Shenandoah Primitives, function and style are combined for great furniture that will last generations. If you're interested in combining the industrial look of metal with wood, or considering something incredibly unique with a live edge, Shenandoah Primitives turns those ideas into reality. Thinking about a mirror, wine rack, or other accent piece for your home, Shenandoah Primitives can assist with that as well. As a local small business, Shenandoah Primitives is happy to work with each client for a custom design or schedule an appointment to come out and view current inventory. Local, high-quality, handmade items can be found at Shenandoah Primitives. Find us on Facebook and Instagram or visit us at www.shenandoahprimitives.com. Once again, that's www.shenandoahprimitives.com.
Hey, sports fans. Thank you for listening to and supporting the Kirby on Sports podcast with founder and host Josh Kirby, along with lead contributor Dan Demski. Like, subscribe, and give them a 5-star rating wherever you get your podcast from. My name is Dr. Dave Miles, founder of Dr. Dave Leadership Corporation. Our company helps leaders build engaged and productive teams. Exclusively for listeners of the Kirby on Sports podcast, you can take an opportunity to discover your primary communication style and learn more about effective communication with others. Text Kirby to 757-903-0743 for your free copy of the Working From Home Communication Assessment, where you'll learn your primary communication style, how to better communicate with others not like you, and tips on working remotely based on your personal communication style. 10 minutes, tons of resources. Learn about yourself and your team. Again, text Kirby to 757-903-0743 for your free assessment report today. I'm Dr. Dave Miles, founder of Dr. Dave Leadership Corporation, where we help you and your team be more engaged and productive by understanding each other better. Back to you, Josh.
All right, the three-man booth is back, wrapping up the rest from week 3 in our hurry-up offense. Ready, break. The Panthers.
I mean, I didn't make the play call, Kirby.
Break.
Okay, let me make the play call. Okay, ready? Spider Y2. What is Spider Y2 banana?
Spider
Ready,
2
break.
banana man.
Okay, on three. Ready?
Break.
I've
broken 3 times. So let's get this show on the road.
Let's get this over with.
Okay. Okay.
Listeners, we will work on it and we will get it right.
It'll
the
make
hurry up offense. The Panthers and the Texans. I mean, the Panthers 3-0. It's been a while since the Panthers have been a good 3-0 team. I know last time they started 3-0, they ended up in the Super Bowl. Not saying that's going to be any different, but the Texans, Davis Mills with only one touchdown. But I mean, the Texans, it's just
They're a
tough to
mess.
see. It's just tough to see without Tyrod Taylor.
Well, they'd be a mess even with Tyrod Taylor, I think, at this point.
Yeah.
I think he gives them a better chance to win than Davis Mills, but they'd still be a mess anyway. And yeah, the Panthers, got to be happy for Sam Darnold because he's finally getting a taste of what a winning start looks like. I just don't know if this is.
If this,
I'll just say this: it's a long season. That's all I'm going to say about the Panthers.
Yeah, I'm just going to say it right now because obviously the Cowboys play the Panthers next. I mean, they're going to lose. They're going to lose their first game. They don't have Christian McCaffrey. I feel like Christian McCaffrey gets injured at least once a season.
Yep.
He can't stay healthy, but Sam Darnold is playing decent. I mean, I guess you could put the Saints as the team that they beat that was decent and good, but I mean, aside from that, who did they beat? The Jets and the Texans. Not a whole lot there.
Agreed.
The Washington football team flies to Buffalo, but I think they forget their defense in a 43-21 rout in Buffalo.
Well, this was just a terrible defense that has been bad all season, going up against Josh Allen, who definitely needed this kind of game where he started off the season a little sluggish. And he was playing on rookie mode, and Washington was playing on all pro. That's it. I mean, it was all Buffalo, and this game was ugly.
Yeah, it was not good. Not a good look for Washington. But I'm celebrating on. I'm dancing on the grave of Washington because the more these NFC East teams lose, the easier it will be for the Dallas Cowboys to win the division.
Yep, absolutely.
I will say one word about the Washington football team's defense. Overrated. On paper, they should be playing a lot better, but they're overrated.
Well, it depends on how you spell it.
Yeah. But the way he said it was 2 words. Overrated.
Okay, 2 words. Overrated.
The hyphen in between.
Next game. The Bears and the Browns, Justin Fields just getting absolutely pummeled. I mean, you have Andy Dalton out. Matt Nagy says next week all 3 are in consideration to start. So, I mean, it's just debacle in Chicago every single year.
Didn't Justin Tucker's, wasn't that 6-yard kick? Wasn't that more yards?
That was more than they had
offense had all day.
Yep.
That is ridiculous. Yeah, the Bears are awful. I feel sorry for Justin Fields. Matt
9
Nagy's obviously
sacks for 67 yards.
Matt Nagy's obviously on the chopping block. I feel like he's definitely the candidate for first coach fired of the season.
I'd bet on that.
And, kind of surprised he's still coaching, to be honest.
And for Cleveland, I mean, again, Cleveland just silent. Obviously they lost the first game against the Chiefs, but I mean, they're kind of sneaking through right now, kind of going under the radar. But and even though we know they're really good, they're like. There's so many other teams going through such that like right now Cleveland's just silently going through and they're going to sneak up on everybody in the playoffs.
Which is one of those things where, I mean, we've known since the beginning of the season they were going to have a good year this year, and their defense was. I haven't seen stat lines this bad for an offense. I think ever, maybe in my entire life, if I ever seen such a terrible offense. Of performance there. And the fact that Matt Nagy still has a job and it's, what is it, Wednesday night now? It's just awfully surprising that he still has the head seat there for them. And yeah, I think it's going to be a week or two and he'll be gone.
He's not. Either way, I'm pretty sure this is going to, even if he makes it through the season, he's not coming back next year.
No way.
I don't think you can bring him back.
Well, he's lost the locker room at this point too.
I agree.
For sure.
All right. I was watching this next game and I was just looking back and forth, and I was like, a certain somebody might get pissed off at this result. And then you have a certain somebody by the name of Justin Tucker for 66 yards, and it bounces on the crossbar and goes in for NFL history. It was not I'll let you talk about it more, Dan, but it did not look like an impressive way to win, but yet again, an impressive
Wins a win.
Yeah, wins a win.
You know?
And 66 yards. Holy cow. Incredible.
And no wind, no altitude, none of that stuff to help you either.
Incredible.
So, I'll just say this about this game. Lamar played one of his best games he's had in the regular season in a long time. They had several key drops. I think they had at least 2 drop touchdown passes. Hollywood Brown had one. I think actually he might have had 2.
He had a few drops that game that were very
a couple
crucial.
bad ones. So, and this is one of those games for the Ravens where they, it's sort of a wake up game for them because I think they definitely didn't take the Lions that seriously, and you could sort of see that in this game. And they kind of fell asleep at the wheel there, and finally started to come alive at the end. But
do you think that the Ravens are also coming off of the emotional high of that Chiefs game and the way that game was played out, that they were kind of hitting that lull this week? And also,
for sure, for sure. I think emotions has a lot to do with it, and especially after how that game went, which I'm still kind of surprised how the game went, to be honest, and how, Lamar was able to bring our offense back and win the game and all that. So, yeah, I think that's a great point and something that, you're sort of feeling like you're one of those best teams and you're sort of not thinking about the current opponent. It's one of those things where you're looking ahead, and they almost, they were big favorites in this game. And they almost gave it away, but a win's a win. 66 yards. What else can I say? What hasn't been said about this kick before? Why? I've seen about 3 or 4 videos of it. I heard the live radio call. It was just an insane moment. And
did you run off the road when you heard he made that 66-yard kick?
Well, clearly,
because I was on 81. I was on 81 and I would have killed myself. So
did you just honk the horn and like, oh my gosh, they just won?
No,
I need to know your reaction.
I just had my mouth wide open and it was like, holy, fill in the blank. Like, what?
Holy mother of Zeus.
Yes, exactly. Zeus's mother. And I turned to my buddy and I'm like, dude, are you serious? Like, did this just happen? Is this real? Like, are they lying? Because obviously the Vikings announcers kind of messed up their kick last week, or was it last week? Yeah, when they thought he made it. But this game was just, it was an ugly win. I'll just say that. And thank God we have Justin Tucker. We take him for granted so often. That kick definitely puts him in the Hall of Fame. He was already in the Hall of Fame anyway, but his foot's in bronze at this point.
All right, the next game, the Cardinals and the Jaguars. A couple things I'd like to point out in this game. They send Matt Prater on to try a 68-yard field goal, and I'm like, yeah, he probably could have done it in a
maybe
dome.
in an indoor,
maybe indoor, because Matt Prater did hold that previous record before Tucker broke it. But
he had the wind and he had the high altitude. So
he did his in Denver.
Yes, correct. But anyways, you have the Cardinals kicking this long kick. It's short. The Jaguars return it for a touchdown.
Yeah.
Well, you're probably thinking, why am I saying this? I'm saying this because Gus Johnson was on the call. Gus Johnson.
He's a legend.
You have
we gushed over him a lot, and we hugged his nuts a little too hard last week.
Still, any game, even if it's a blowout like 31-19, the Cards over the Jags, Gus Johnson is going to make it exciting.
Yeah. He's just one of those guys that just makes watching the game fun.
He can make anything exciting. To be honest, he could probably do a water balloon contest and make it, seem like it's the greatest sporting event in the history of sporting events.
James Conner with 2 touchdowns in that game, by the way.
Yeah, weird stat line, only 43 yards, but he was efficient when he got the ball. So, I think about this game. The Cardinals are, one of the, obviously a lot of people have them right now as one of the top teams in the NFC. They're 3-0. They're really starting to click. Kyler Murray's been playing well, and they just went up against a team that is just, they're stumbling.
Bad. They're
fumbling a lot.
They're feel bad for Trevor Lawrence. I really do.
I don't. I really don't.
Oh, look, good for you, Dan.
He had all those years of winning. All right. He didn't lose a single regular season game. So it has to happen sometime. You can't.
I mean, we knew it was going to happen here in the pros, but what I feel bad is because, I mean, let's be honest. I mean, this Urban Meyer experiment is not working right now. That's what I feel.
I called it. You know, I just when you hire a guy who's been away from coaching and he's never coached in the NFL, and all of a sudden you just give him that kind of power, it's just really, really risky. And yeah, it's a failure right now.
I just hope they don't mess this kid up because Trevor Lawrence is special, and I want him to work out. So I want him to succeed.
Yeah, and you hate to see him get hit a bunch too, and we've already seen that quite a bit this year. And your mind just goes back immediately to Joe Burrow last season and all the stuff he went through. So yeah, really don't want that to happen. So what's that?
I said they play each other tomorrow too.
No, yeah.
Should be a good matchup, actually.
Poop-fectable.
All right. The Saints over the Patriots 28-13. You look at the score line, the Saints scored a touchdown once a quarter, 7-7 across the board. Looks like Jameis got his eyes checked again. I'm not really sure, but I
don't know. One of those touchdowns was that was the most Jameis. That was a lucky break because that dude was literally, he just threw it up.
And Mac Jones, unfortunately, 3 interceptions in this game.
Yeah.
It's a learning process, but I think...
Listen, the Saints defense, they have a good defense. It's a matter of how consistent can Jameis be? Can he remain that same Jameis that played the Packers, that was flawless in his performance? You know, that the Saints will only go offensively are only going to go as far as Jameis can take them. As for Mac Jones, rookie quarter, this is such a tough position for him to be in because, obviously losing this game and then now you got the big, Tom Brady return, which we're going to cover here soon. I mean, I kind of feel bad, but I mean, at the same time, Bill Belichick after losses is pretty dangerous. And so, but also, we already touched on Brady. Brady after losses is dangerous too. So, I'm hoping for a very good game Sunday night.
Yeah, it's just one of those things that was, the Saints have played pretty well other than that really ugly game by Jameis.
Against Panthers.
Yeah, that looked like old school Jameis before he got his eyes fixed. But this game was really just a matter of, the Saints were looking for that sort of bounce back. And, they picked on a rookie quarterback. I mean, look, they have the number 3 defense in the NFL right now. They showed it. I mean, they got a lot of pressure and forced them to make 3 really bad interceptions. And another key thing for, the Patriots is they have no running game at all. I mean,
they just lost James White too.
Yeah, they have, Damian Harris he's nothing Harris. Special.
Obviously, they traded Sony Michel, and then Mac again. Another issue. Mac Jones is your
leading rusher,
top rusher. That's not
28
a good
yards. Yeah.
Vice versa for the Saints, they got Alvin Kamara going, and I think that really helps the Saints is when Alvin Kamara can get going because that's what really hurt them against the Panthers. They couldn't get him going.
You said it, man. That's perfect.
The New York Giants being the New York Giants. And
just skip it. Just skip it. Just move on. With nothing to say. These teams both suck.
Yep, 17-14. The Bengals over the Steelers.
Yeah, that was surprising.
It was
Ben
to me.
Needs to retire.
He was awful.
I think it's time. I'm sorry. I think
bring in
really
Kirby's
time.
favorite quarterback, Dewey Haskins, and let's go.
No.
He can't throw it anymore. He stumbles around. It looks like he's just drunk before the game, and he's just trying to throw it. And yeah, it was over. It was ugly.
It was ugly. It's over for him.
Carlos, are you still sticking by the decision that Jamar Chase wasn't the right draft pick for the Bengals?
Yes, I will stick by that forever.
He played well, but yeah,
he played well. But I mean, again, the Steelers team is playing without T.J. Watt. Their defense looks very unmotivated right now.
They have no defense at all. Pretty
right
much
now. I mean, it's just
I don't think they're that great in general. I mean, even if outside of their pass rush,
I mean, Minka Fitzpatrick's no joke, but
yeah, but 1 or 2 guys on defense. You know what I mean? It takes a whole unit, and the Steelers just don't really have that.
They're just not together right now. And again, again,
They're a mess.
they have so many. The Steelers have a lot of issues, especially on the line. So,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
same thing with the Bengals. But the Bengals were able to manage Pittsburgh's defense better than.
And Joe Burrow, 14 of 18. My God, that's impressive for a guy who doesn't really have a lot around him other than Jamar Chase. So
Yeah. Well, he's got T. Higgins and
Joe Mixon ran the ball well. I think that was another key thing to their success too. He had 18 carries too. So that took a lot of the weight off Joe Burrow having to throw it 25, 30, 40 times. So yeah.
All right. The Titans over the Colts 25-16. Did Carson Wentz get rushed back too early?
maybe. I don't know. Or maybe just Carson Wentz just isn't that good.
He needs a wheelchair.
I mean, let's
Yeah.
be honest. I mean, it's so. I mean, the Colts are 0-3, man, and this is a team that's ready, that's primed and ready for. They just need a quarterback, and Tennessee has really bounced back, obviously from Week 1. After getting blown out by the Cardinals, and then obviously making that huge comeback against Seattle, last week, and then completely. Not I don't know if dominating is the right word, but beating the Colts is pretty big. The Colts are in trouble right now because they're 0-3, and right now the math is not on their side.
Yeah, and Tannehill didn't play great. He had 2 interceptions. He did have 3 touchdowns, but Derrick Henry 113 yards. I mean, that takes a lot of pressure off your quarterback when you have a guy who can run it.
He's starting to go.
He's really starting to turn it on, and that's a scary thing for all the teams who play the Titans down the road,
especially this early in the season, because he normally doesn't start going until later in the season, but he's starting this early. That could be a scary thing, or that could either be a scary thing for the league or a scary thing for the Titans, because if it can go both ways. He could continue going and just go at an unbelievable level, or he's going to fall off at the end of the year.
Yeah, and I think you hit the nail on the head about Carson Wentz. I mean, he's pathetic. I mean, quite frankly, and I've never been impressed by the guy. I've never really thought that, even in the season that he led the Eagles to that great season, and then he gets hurt at the end. Naturally, like
he was playing good that season. Like, I can't lie, he was a legit MVP candidate. But after that, he just has never been the same.
Not the same, yeah, not the same. And yeah, their season's pretty much over at this point. I mean, when you're 0-3, you gotta go on a hell of a winning streak, even though there's 14 games left. I mean, the odds are not in their favor, and they're with the Titans in their division. It's just not meant to be this year.
I mean, the good news is that they still got to play the Jaguars and the Texans twice. So there's 4 games. So maybe that'll get them above 500, but still, it's not like they have, I haven't checked their schedule lately, but I don't think they got any real easy games coming up.
And even those games, I mean, I don't know if I'd really put them head and shoulders above those 2 teams either. I think the Texans could beat them for sure. I mean, the Jags probably not, but I don't know.
Here's their next 4 games. They got the Dolphins next week. They got the Ravens the week after that, Monday Night Football. Please. Then they got the Texans, and then they got the 49ers, and then they got the Titans again. Then
I think they could. I could see them winning 1 game in that stretch. Maybe.
I think they can be. I think they have a shot against the Dolphins, maybe against the Texans. I mean, definitely against the Texans, maybe against the Dolphins. They're going to lose. I think they're going to lose to the Ravens and the 49ers. They're going to lose to the Titans again. Then they got the Jets and Jaguars back to back. So maybe there's 2 wins right there. But then they go against the Bills, the Bucks. They still have to play the Cardinals and the Raiders.
See, the end of their schedule is brutal. And they could go 0-for in those games. So
So it's really tough, especially starting 0-3.
Yeah,
it's going to be really hard for them to make the playoffs.
All right, the Broncos shutting out the Jets 26-0.
Nah, I got nothing to say.
I saw a meme of from like The Simpsons of Homer, like he had tied all his fat to his back and from the front. And it's got the Broncos logo on the front saying 3-0. And then behind them with all the fat is all the teams that they beat that have no wins. They beaten the Jets. Who else? They beat the Jets, the Giants, And
Who's the other team?
Who's the other team?
Let me look. Gotta remember.
It's going to be a process for Robert Saleh and Zach.
The Jaguars. The Jaguars.
Jags. That's right.
The Jets, the Giants, and the Jaguars. Who none of those teams have wins.
It's going to be a building process for sure.
And
I'll just say this. Yeah. Go ahead, Carlos. I'm sorry.
I mean, just for the Jets. I mean, just for both New York teams. I mean, they're just in the dumpster right now.
Quite simply, yeah. That's pretty much all you can say.
And they're getting kicked. And then they're, the Giants owner kicking trash cans, kicking some of his players because, they're all trash.
Only 162 yards the entire game for the Jets. That is abysmal.
Wow.
And obviously scored it all. So, yeah, they are. You don't like to say a team could go 0-17, but if there's a team that has that,
possible.
It's very possible for them. I'd put them head and shoulders as the worst team in the NFL right now, even worse than the Jags and all the other 0-for teams.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Yeah, they are just, yeah, that's all I have to say. I mean,
all right.
They're that bad.
The Raiders over the Dolphins in overtime, 31-28. This was a very interesting ball game. I'm surprised it was so close with Tua being out because Jacoby Brissett, I mean, he has been in a starting role before, but he hasn't been for a little while. So I'm surprised they kept it that close. And the Raiders won a game-winning field goal in overtime.
Yeah, Jacoby Brissett played pretty well. I mean, I don't know. Jacoby has something that Tua doesn't, it seems like. I don't know what it is, but it seems like this team kind of plays better with Jacoby. I don't know. I'm getting very worried about how this is starting to look on Tua. Mm-hmm. I think more and more, people are starting to kind of come to a realization that maybe Tua's not the guy. And maybe he just never was the guy.
Right. Yeah. I think those are fair things. I think for the Raiders, I mean, they've had all three of their games have been pretty close. They beat Pittsburgh by 9 last week, but other than that, I mean, overtime in week 1, overtime in week 3 wins. They've been they've had a really, really good start.
Good start, but kind of worrisome because they've been like you said, they've been close games. They haven't had that really convincing win yet.
Yeah, and this was one of those games where they definitely could have. I mean, if you stack the odds, I mean, the Dolphins had, like we said, Tua was out. He hasn't played well.
But you bring in Jacoby Brissett, who
the Raiders defense struggled in this game. I mean, they really kept the Dolphins hanging around, and that's definitely concerning for the future. But Peyton Barber had a really good game for the Raiders, 111 yards. And a touchdown. So, like we talked about, I mean, that's kind of how it all, happens. It kind of starts with the run, and it sort of goes that way. And the Raiders, I mean, Derek Carr has been extremely hot to start the season. He almost threw for 400 yards again here. So I know this is supposed to be hurry up offense. So I'll finish what I'm going to say. But yeah, I'm concerned with the Raiders defense. Their offense can put up points. Their offense can put them ahead in games, but their defense is a leaky faucet that could blow at some point, I think, for sure.
Yep, totally agree.
Let's talk about another defense getting exposed as the Vikings defeat the Seahawks 30-17.
I didn't see this one coming.
I mean, I didn't either. I mean, the Seahawks, it's time to press the panic button. It's time to do something to improve that defense because, I mean, You look at Kirk Cousins, and he threw for 323 yards.
He played perfect. I mean, he had a perfect game.
Yeah.
Literally.
That was the only way that we're going to win is if he played a perfect game, but can he keep that up? I don't think so.
Well, the Seahawks are one of the worst defenses in the NFL. Right now.
Whoa. That's the Washington football team. Hold on.
He said
now.
one of the. He didn't say
Calm
the
down.
worst.
Oh, okay.
I know
okay.
you like shitting on your team now, but we're not talking about that.
Yeah, I don't know when. Like, God, Kirby, you just love shitting on your team, but
He used to be the opposite. He used to
I
just
know. I'm
roses
telling you,
and
Dan.
flowers
I
and
think
stuff.
we broke him.
I think so. I really think so. It must kill him to see Kirk Cousins play so well too. It's just got to
Not really.
in this game. But
Nah, because Kirby understands. It's all smoke and mirrors. Like Kirk Cousins he has that game here and there where he plays great, but then ultimately, what does it amount to? Absolutely nothing.
watch him win a Super Bowl now that we said that. But
yeah, the Vikings winning a Super Bowl. Yeah.
that would be crazy. That would, especially after being 1-2 now. But yeah, this and the Seahawks offense, Russell Wilson, he played all right. He, was nothing to write home about. They ran the ball decently. I can't figure out this team. They had a great first half. It was 21-17 at the half, and then no offense in the second half at all for Seattle. I mean, that's supposed to be their bread and butter. So,
and it kind of started in the last game too against the Titans. Like they had that huge lead again. They were blowing the Titans out, and then they just let them back into the game, and it's kind of continued into this game.
To say that's concerning is an understatement. I mean, that is, I think it's getting close to hitting the panic button. I mean, if they have another game, if they have a couple more games like this,
I think if they have a couple more games like this, I think the people are going to start asking, is it time to replace Pete Carroll? Because he might have
lost the locker room sort of thing.
Not lost the locker room, but I think he might have it just might be time to move on.
Overstayed. Yeah.
In the last game for week 3, we will touch on an NFC East matchup on Monday night, the Cowboys and the Eagles. The Cowboys winning 41-21. Carlos, I'll let you touch a little bit more on this, but Dallas, they're looking pretty darn good, and I think they have a chance to win the NFC East this year.
Yeah, we are. I mean, I think we're definitely going to win the NFC East. It's just, like I said earlier, this team is going to win 12 games, like at least 12 games, because, just looking at their schedule, like we still got 2 games against the Giants. We still got the 2 games against Washington. We still have 1 more against Philly at the end of the season. And then on top of that, we're playing, not overly tough teams. I mean, our toughest matchup is probably the Chiefs, and, we'll see where the Raiders are when we play them, and the Saints. And I think we play the Raiders on Thanksgiving. So, but yeah, especially with the way the other NFC East teams are playing, it just doesn't really seem like a team is really going to put up a fight, against Dallas's claim to the throne. So, I would like to rescind one of my comments on Trayvon Diggs not being a number 1.
I was going to say that. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm rescinding my comment on that. He's really proven me wrong these past couple of weeks, and I'm glad he has. Again, I want to shout out Dan Quinn, because Dan Quinn has really, really organized this defense in a way where they are now finally, like, it seems like they just needed an adult in the room, and he's the adult.
Yeah.
And he's really got this defense playing very well. It's going to be very exciting when DeMarcus Lawrence comes back and we get some of our other guys back.
It's huge. Yeah.
Micah Parsons is obviously a beast. And, this Dallas offense, I mean, what more is there to say? They're just so talented and good. Zeke finally had a great, running game. 17 carries, 95 yards, 2 touchdowns. Tony Pollard obviously also had a pretty good game with 60 yards, on 11 carries. And by the way, and just to iterate, the score line should really be 48-21, because we were robbed of one of our touchdowns. That was a freaking touchdown, and those referees are idiots. And so is the Monday Night Football crew, the regular crew, not the Manning and Eli. The regular crew are a bunch of idiots, because they wouldn't just flat out say it's a touchdown. They were like, "Oh, but you can't see the ball." Really? You can't tell where the ball is?
It has to be
ridiculous.
Clear and obvious. It states that
it's clear and obvious.
Clear and obvious.
And then there's also another point where Dak even brings the ball back out and pulls it back over the line.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing here?
I don't think it was clear and obvious.
Yeah, shut the hell up, Kirby. Your team is trash, so don't talk about my team.
He's just saying that as a Washington fan. He's bitter.
Yeah.
I think the Eagles are better than Washington.
I don't know. They're all awful.
I just wanted to see Kirby's reaction.
All right. That is the hurry up offense for week 3 here on the Kirby on Sports podcast. When we return, we will wrap things up right after this.
Hey there, this is Mark Francis of Icon Real Estate. If you have any real estate needs in the Winchester surrounding area, including West Virginia, give me a call. I've got extensive experience, been in the business for almost 20 years, and would love to help you out. Track me down at Icon Real Estate, iconsells.com, or even give me a call, 540-247-1527. Again, Icon Sells, ICONSELLS.com, and I would love to chat with you and help you out. Give me a call.
All right, we are back, the 3-man booth, wrapping things up with what to look out for week number 4 in the National Football League. I would go around, but I think we all have a clear consensus on
one thing.
Yeah, there's only one thing we're looking out for. The time, 8:20. The place, Foxborough, Gillette Stadium. The network, NBC, Sunday Night Football. It's the Buccaneers and the Patriots. Tom Brady is coming back to where it all began.
And he's going to spank that Patriot rear.
That was a great promo.
That
Fantastic
promo was incredible. Yes, Carlos, absolutely incredible.
I've never been so hyped for a game before. This
yeah,
is
I had, and it's good. It's 10 times better that it's on Sunday night instead of Monday night.
Oh, I love it. I love that.
Collinsworth slide, baby.
Yeah, yes. I'm so excited that Al Michaels and Chris Collinsworth are going to call this game. Dude, this is going to be the most watched regular season game like in a long time. Like this game is going my prediction is that Tampa Bay is going to win this probably, especially, again, Mac Jones. But I mean, it's just going to be interesting to see how Bill Belichick is, because, he's never had he's game planned for Tom Brady before, as like, when they were together. Cause like,
different.
Or like when they were together, to be like, okay, this is how a team would beat you. But now he's legit has to game plan against him to actually try to beat Tom Brady. So, and, I'm not, there's not going to be any bad blood per se,
No.
They're going to shake hands. They're going to,
is Bill going to hug Tom Brady?
I was going to say, is there going to be are we going to see more emotion from Bill than usual?
I don't know.
I think yes, because I mean, they spent 20 years together, 19 years together, I guess. You can't deny that there's got to be some sort of emotional connection when those guys meet before the game or after the game, whatever.
Their relationship soured towards the end. Like they did not have a good relationship when they broke up.
Right.
Now, obviously, the Patriots and Bill Belichick and Tom Brady did a really good job of not letting it be a public, kind of a public affair.
They really did a good job
They did a great job
keeping
of
that quiet.
keeping it, behind closed doors.
Yeah.
But obviously, there's been books written about what has happened at the end. Obviously, there's things still coming out. It's this is definitely something I know I know this is something Bill Belichick definitely wants. He wants this win, and so does Brady. Brady already has the Super Bowl without him, so Brady already has the claim to, has the upper hand on the argument. Now these guys are gonna be at each other's Hall of Fame induction ceremonies. They're gonna be there for each other, but right now, I feel like pre-game and post-game they're gonna be cordial. They're gonna be fine with each other, but during the game it's gonna be very personal.
Game on.
I'm so
Will
excited.
there be a video tribute for Tom Brady?
Yes,
of course.
And I really don't know how the Patriots fans are gonna really act. I'm pretty sure ultimately
they're
going to boo him during the game, but
So
before the
stupid.
game and after the game they're going to be cheering him. But
The guy
during
made
the
your
game, they
city
have to
relevant.
cheer the team.
Come on. The guy made them relevant. I mean, he was their entire team.
Yeah.
I mean,
He brought them all those Super Bowls.
He's the reason why they have 6 Super Bowls, why they're tied with the Pittsburgh Steelers for most Super Bowls
Mhm.
in history, and that was just one guy, but I mean, and again, compared to Pittsburgh, where Pittsburgh had it through decades worth of play,
40 years or whatever it was. Yeah.
Yeah. So but again, Pat McAfee always tells a story. Like with Adam Vinatieri, obviously he won them 2 Super Bowls alone, like by kicking the game-winning field goal. And they would cheer him and like thank him and all that during pregame and postgame, but during the game they would say the most craziest shit to him, like
right.
So, and I feel like that's ultimately what's going to happen with Brady. Like obviously they have they're thankful for what he did. I'm pretty sure they miss him, but again, they're going to support their team. Ultimately it's about the Patriots, not Tom Brady.
Yeah, that's the big thing. And I'm interested to see how Mac Jones holds up against this defense. He's struggled so far. Obviously, most of the rookie quarterbacks across the NFL have struggled.
He's the only rookie quarterback that's gotten a win out of this class so far, and that's because somebody had to win that game between him and Zach Wilson.
Exactly.
But something I'm interested in is how does he deal with this type of pressure? Because this is a big game. This is bigger than any game he's been in, and this is Brady coming back to Foxborough. And this is the guy that he's the heir apparent to.
This is going to be his biggest game of the season, as far as like importance is concerned.
I think this is going to be the biggest game of his life so far.
So
far. I think this is bigger than the national championship. I do.
I don't know, man.
It's going to be a big game regardless, and I feel like the viewership will be through the roof.
Oh, this is going to be the highest rated game.
Oh, yeah. No doubt. And
should be a fun one.
And that is what to look out for week 4. It was pretty easy. It was pretty simple. That wraps it up for this edition of the Kirby on Sports podcast. For Dan and the Swiss Army knife Carlos Martinez, I'm Josh Kirby. Check us out, www.kirbyonsports.com. All streaming platforms, all social media platforms. For our sponsors, Regroup Building Services, PM Plus Reserve, Shenandoah Primitives, Dr. Dave Leadership Corporation, and Mark Francis with Icon Real Estate. Until the next time you hear our voice, always remember to create greatness. So long and peace out.